The Martyrologium Hieronymianum is a list of Christian martyrs, one of the most used and influential of the Middle Ages. It is the oldest surviving general or universal martyrology, and the ultimate source of all later Western martyrologies. It was probably compiled in the late 6th century by monks in Gaul from calendars and martyrologies originating in Rome, Africa. The Christian Eastern locally.Pseudepigraphically attributed to Saint Jerome. The Martyrologium Hieronymianum contains a reference to him derived from the opening chapter of his Vita Malchi, where Jerome states his intention to write a history of the saints and martyrs from the apostolic times. I decided to write from the coming of the Savior up to our age, that is, from the apostles up to the dregs of our time. Its alternate name, Martyrologium Sancti Hieronymi, further erodes confidence about its authorship, date and textual history. Hippolyte Delhay was of the opinion that the first recension was compiled in northern Italy, probably within the Patriarchate of Aquileia, in the 430s or 440s. The 1911 Encyclopaedia Britannica suggested that, in its present form, it goes back to the end of the 6th century. It is the result of the combination of a general martyrology of the Eastern churches, a local martyrology of the Church of Rome, some general martyrologies of Italy and Africa, and a series of local martyrologies of Gaul. The task of critics is to distinguish between its various constituent elements. The sole surviving manuscript derives from a lost recension apparently made in Gaul, probably at Auxerre, California 600, with which the Dictionary of the Middle Ages concurs. The text shows signs of having been copied in Anglo-Saxon England by its inclusion of 5 Anglo-Saxon commemorations. The sole surviving copy is associated with the household of the Northumbrian Willibrord at his foundation. It is conserved at the Bibliothèque Nationale, Paris, Lat. 10,837, folios 2–33. In its present form, the Martyrologium Hieronymianum is a 9th-century compilation from various calendars and lists of martyrs. Amended and interpolated, the names distorted and multiplied, or moved from one date to another according to local cultures. Scholars generally assumed that in the lists of martyrs that had each day's entry, newer additions were added at the bottom of the lists, and thus the first names are most likely to be those from the lost earliest versions of the Martyrologium Hieronymianum. Contents. Some of the entries contain brief narratives about the saints which are of historic interest. However, the vast majority of entries are nothing but lists of names and places. For example, on the 3rd day before the Ides of January, at Rome, in the cemetery of Calixtus, on the Appian Way, buried Miltiades the bishop. The first historic martyrologies would not flower until the Carolingian period, starting with the Martyrology of B.